Hello, you're listening to Count Richard Von Coudenhove Kalergi. Today is Sunday, the 20th of October. Beautiful day here now. We got 14.5 degrees, very windy, and I hope you all survived the storm, whatever the hell it was, Aisling, last night. But so today I'd like to do a video, and I'd like to call it the week of anniversaries. And I'd like to start with the 4th of October, which was the 4th anniversary of the passing of my friend Claire on Spéirbhean, who I knew from Barra Street. Claire was a lovely lady. She was a music teacher. She played both piano and organ and conducted the men's choir down in Castlecomer. But a great person, great personality. And on my trips down to visit her in Carlow, I visited both Duckett's Grove, Ballymoon Castle, and did a tour of Dublin Castle with her, where interestingly the tour guide, we got to talk about Chris Fogarty's book The Perfect Holocaust, which she was not familiar with, even though she was an historian. But a great lady, and I still miss her. And sadly, on the 3rd of October, our good friend Philly D from Wake Up Air passed away as well, and I'd like to do a little tribute for Phil towards the end of this video. But I'd like to start with the anniversary of the 7th of October, and I wonder, was the 7th of October chosen as the date for the attack into Israel, as this would have been the anniversary of the Battle of Lepanto, which took place in 1571, and between the Ottoman Turk forces and the Catholic forces of different navies. And it was the largest naval battle in naval history. Over 400 ships were involved in varying sizes, between 120 feet and 165 feet, but it was the last battle where that was fought using ships that were a combination of sail and rowing. So if you think of something like the film Ben-Hur, you would have had up to 5 men per oar, and these things would have had up to 32 oars. So extraordinary ships. And so I wonder, was the attack in Israel that they chose that particular date as the anniversary? And also the other anniversary, if it would be, for instance, the September the 11th attack. If the September the 11th 1683 was the anniversary of the siege of Vienna by Ottoman Turkish forces, where they'd been under siege for 2 months, and that siege was broken by the arrival of King Jan Sobieski from Poland. And the croissant was actually baked in Vienna as a celebration, hence its crescent shape, to commemorate that actual victory. But interestingly now, I don't think you get crescent shaped croissants anymore. They all seem to be straight for some reason. And also the fact that I was looking at the visit of Zelensky into America and his greeting with Trump, he certainly I think he was given the message that the Ukraine, when he gets elected, won't be getting any more money, and you'll certainly, I think Trump will end that conflict very quickly. And also the building up of the BRIC nations. There's 84 countries in the world now have signed up to the BRIC nations, which involve 45% of the world's population. So as the American empire seems to be losing influence, gold-backed currencies through the BRIC nations seem to be increasing. And Turkey is also now a country that has now recently applied to join the BRIC nations. But also, to talk about the assassination of Hassan Marsala on the 27th of September in the Beirut suburbs, where he was attacked by F-15 fighters, dropping over 80 bombs in a matter of minutes, including 19 200,000 pound bombs and he was killed in an underground bunker 60 feet below ground. Imagine that. But with this pacts between Russia, China, Iran, that I would hate to think that the murder of this man from Hezbollah is the equivalent of the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand back in 1914, and the effect that actually had on history afterwards. And also in that attack there were 33 people killed and 195 people injured. So you can see what a difference a year made between the attack on the 7th of October and any goodwill that may have been shown towards Israel as a result of that attack has certainly been squandered. October the 7th also saw the storm Milton hitting there in Florida, with over 3.4 million people without electricity. And to think that this push towards electric vehicles, how on earth do you get an electric vehicle out of a disaster zone where you have no electricity? So there was at least 24 casualties. Oh, this is crazy. I'm going to have to choose a different route. Maybe go up through Rathmines. We're actually going through Ranelagh now at the moment. The traffic seems to be particularly bad today. Just watching those damn Deliveroo cyclists never have any lights on at night. So this would be coming from the Triangle in Ranelagh up towards Castlewood Avenue in Rathmines. We have a filtered arrow. And for those of you who have been around Ranelagh here, you can see the Lewis Bridge directly in front. And there's a gentleman who had a clothes shop there on the right hand side, a fella called Derek Byrne. When I lived in Ranelagh, I used to buy me clothes there. A very nice man he was too, but unfortunately his shop is closed now a number of years. But yeah, there was 24 fatalities, and you can imagine the amount of damage that was done by these ironic to be talking about storms and wind. God, there's plenty of leaves being blown around there. Now on the right hand side here now, the two adjoining buildings together, these are the ones where they have the international protection applicants in there. There's a couple of cars in the car park. So but also in relation to this week now, another running current TD has decided that she isn't going to run. It's Heather Humphreys. So out of 35 sitting Fine Gael TDs, 18 of them now are no longer running, which is extraordinary. Also as well, I got a reply from John Barry Sinn Féin TD from Wicklow to an email I sent him on the 21st of April. So fair play to you, John. Took you 6 months to reply, and it appears that politics in Ireland certainly is imploding, and if there was ever room for patriots to get in, now is the chance. I came across an interesting quote during the week, was from a gentleman called Douglas McGregor, and that was, mistrust of the media and government is the beginning of wisdom. And how true that is. And if you look at during the week, the chap that was charged with the murder of Mary Ward from the north was described as a Dublin man, and he says this is the kind of nonsense that is going on through the media. Also, Sharon Keoghan spent 25 minutes reading out all the different genders for hate speech in the Dáil, and I have to say the poor attendance in the Dáil was disgraceful. Now just on our left hand side here we passed, it's now a tattoo shop, but there used to be a barber's. There were two elderly brothers ran it, and they first opened in 1916. Imagine that. And that would have been, they were well into their 90s when they better turn over a bit, he's bigger than I am. They would have been well into their 90s when they were still cutting hair. I spent a lot of time in Rathmines, from one dead end job to another, and but I always managed to find myself migrating towards Slattery's there for a drink, which is just on the far side of the road. Besides Slattery's, you have the new Stella Cinema, which was refurbished. I remember one time going in there one night after a rake of pints in Slattery's and watching the Blues Brothers, only to have a rat run across my feet. So it was not in the best of condition, but thankfully it's done it up now, and the original Stella cinemas was at one stage was the largest cinema in Ireland, and was named after the chap who owned it, his wife, which is kind of a nice story, you know. But also, I was listening to a fella on News Talk there during the week. He was talking about the number of people that die from fumes in the home, saying that this is one of the reasons why we should get rid of open fires and gas burners because of fumes. And he said that 6 people died in Ireland due to fumes. Imagine that. And how on earth they can have this nonsense on News Talk is beyond me, unless of course they're broadcasting with an agenda. Also during the week I was reading about that currently at the moment there's 92 data centres in Ireland, and they're using up at the moment 21% of our electricity. Imagine that. And it is expected that another 20 to be built by the end of the decade, and they will be using up 33% of our electricity. And on top of that, each one of these data centres goes through 500,000 litres of water a day to keep the servers cool. Imagine that. And so also I came across a case that this was about a man I knew years ago. He was a homeless man living in Rathmines, and he used to come into one of the restaurants I worked in. He was a rather large man, quite an intimidating man. But it turned out during the week he was actually charged for an assault on a young chap over in Stillorgan, a 15-year-old boy. But it turned out that in his career of crime, that this man is 75 years of age, he's had 2 rapes, 4 sexual assaults, 4 sexual assaults, and he has 391 previous convictions. Imagine that. 391 previous convictions. So how on earth does somebody arrive up with a target of that figure? And for his most recent incident, he got 9 months in jail. But extraordinary stuff. Now I suppose I'm going to end up my video shortly, but I would like to pay a tribute to my friend Phil. Phil unfortunately passed away on the 3rd of October this year. And I first met Phil at a funeral. I was the only one there not wearing a mask, and he actually came over and stood beside me and joked and said, "I'm standing beside you, you're the only one here that isn't wearing a mask." But he was a lovely guy. I met him at a couple of different events, and we just got on very well and found we had such a mutual interest in so many areas that we exchanged numbers and met up regularly. And in fact, the day before he passed away, I was on the phone to him because I was supposed to meet him that night to have something to eat, and I had actually planned to interview him. Certainly he had grave concern about this Northern Ireland Health Bill, and so unfortunately that on the particular day that we were to meet, I actually interviewed Barry from Wake Up Era, who was very generous with his time. And I was supposed to meet Phil that night, and he couldn't make it because he wasn't feeling well. So you can imagine my absolute sadness with finding out that he had passed away on the Thursday morning. But he's a lovely guy. I'm still in shock, and also I was quite surprised. And thanks to a friend of mine, John, who pointed out that in the condolence page there was a message actually put in by Antifa, and it was signed Anti. AUNTIEFAH. So I got onto RIP.ie with a screenshot taken of that and asked them would they be kind enough to remove this bogus message, which they did. So I suppose, in a way, as a little tribute to Phil, I'd actually like to recite a poem in his memory, and we'll see how we get on from here. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good or talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet both with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truths you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve their term long after they have gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, where neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, and all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours and the earth and everything that is in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Philip Dowling was that man. God bless, rest in peace, good afternoon, good luck, and God bless.